pandemic got us into a reflective space and made us look inward to see what we can do for the world at large. As a self-expression coach, I became a catalyst for women and started Vani, a one-on-one coaching program for women on finding their voice, to speak up, to be visible. As a storyteller, I spotted there were many ordinary people amongst us leading extraordinary lives, making a difference to the world, and they needed to be heard. Thus was born You and I with Rashmi Shetty, where amazing personal journeys with their uniqueness and individuality are showcased, a reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guest today is BindhuMalini Narayanaswamy. She is a National Filmfare and Bhavaloka award-winning Indian singer, composer, musician, music director, actor, and graphic designer. Bindhu is one of the few rare artists to have pursued training in both Carnatic and Hindustani classical forms, and yet has constantly strived to explore avenues outside of her strict classical roots to other forms and traditions in search of the soul-stirring power that music has. This has given form to a more easy yet confident personal style for her as a performer. She is known for her soulful voice and her deeply spiritual renditions of the poetry and songs of the mystic saints and poets belonging to different eras and parts of the subcontinent. Bindhu holds a bachelor's degree in History of Fine Arts, Drawing and Painting, a second bachelor's in Carnatic Music from the Madras University. She's also a gold medalist in her master's program in visual communication and a postgraduate in graphic design from the National Institute of Design. Born in Chennai, she currently lives in Bengaluru with her husband Vasu Dikshit, lead singer and songwriter of the folk rock fusion band Swaratma. Listen to Bindhu as she shares her inspirational journey. Hi, BindhuMalini. Such a pleasure meeting you and talking to you. And thank you so much for agreeing to be on this journey with You and I with Rashmi Shetty. I would love to know what your life's all about, because I've always seen you as somebody who blends art with music and makes the whole diaspora of art look so beautiful. So, what has your journey been like, and what was little Bindhu like to the Bindhu Malini the world knows today?
Thanks, Rashmi, firstly, for having me here. And what is the world of Bindhu? Bindhu's world is a lot to do with music, a lot to do with daydreaming, a lot to do with just getting lost in imagination, and a lot of sometimes curiosity, sometimes boredom, and active work, and then suddenly just watching some film or taking a break, and then enjoying food a lot. So these are a lot of things, reading books and lovely book, and again losing oneself into parallel universes. So that's Bindhu's world right now, and I think that's the world that the little one also had inhabited anyway, full of staged moments in a way. Either yeah, quite the drama queen, or everything becoming sort of a possible game or a performance or something. A lot of make do things and imaginary scenarios and stuff like that. Right from my father's back, where I was supposed to stand on him to give him massage, that became my first arangetra, or jump onto the benches in my grandfather's house, and that becomes again the stage. Right from a stool becomes the statue's platform. Now when I'm talking to, I realize, okay, every moment was quite dramatic or fun filled. I have a lot of beautiful memories to thankfully treasure and cherish. I don't know about memory. I think I'm also somewhere only the essence remains, I must say. Yeah, till a certain point it was all vivid moments, and it was as if I'm right there, but now it's that aftertaste, and I'm happy about the fact that all the taste that I can savor has come back into my life right now. I wouldn't say it was always the case. A lot of times it was absolutely tasting bitter, and difficult. But now it's really like that. Somehow it does feel like a cycle or circle where I'm probably that one who's come back again in a nice way. So little Bindhu's life was a lot about music again, a lot about play, a lot of adults around, very busy doing their own things, and a lot of chaotic moments because everybody is doing their own thing. And then I have a lovely, I'm a fan of this artist, Priya Kurian, an illustrator. Her images capture this about life, because even if it's a little scene, suddenly there'll be a dog there, a crow will be sitting there. Even all that will be part of our world. So right from a green snake falling off from the coconut tree to the monkeys jumping around to my grandfather looking for his shaving set, my grandmother playing the Jalatarangam, my uncles probably getting into a very strong fight, to the children breaking their jaws. That's how exciting every day was for me as a child.
And were you Bangalore bred?
No, I'm Madras. Yeah, full
Okay.
Madras girl I am. And the images that I'm kind of recollecting are predominantly from my party's house, and a
Okay.
lot to do from the Central Leather Research Institute campus where my mother worked. And so we lived in that quarters, and there was just a lot of place to run around, lots of place. I feel extremely lucky that I had a childhood where parents didn't really have to worry where the children are till it really got very dark. There was just endless space and umpteen number of trees and places to hide and run away to, and
Yeah.
a lot of children around, and really lucky for that.
And I totally agree with you because I'm also Madras bred. And there was something about old Madras which is not there in the new Chennai, which I definitely miss when I go there. But Madras is Madras for
Yes,
sure.
yes, it's special.
And you said
And
you had music, right, around you. So who in the family was into music? Like everyone?
I think the main source was my party and her keen interest to be a musician, to be something in her life. I think it was that verb to really be something. Now, when I look at it, it was not about music, but for her to really discover so many things. Her curiosity till the end of her life was like childlike. She'll take her harmonium, she'll start playing. She'll be curious. She'll say, "What is that? What is that? Teach me. What is that?" And then she could play umpteen number of instruments. So I think music was the way she found herself to really explore possibilities, explore new things, keep discovering, not stop at something, and do something which really gave her a lot of peace, a sense of identity, in fact. Now that as a woman of this age, when I look back at her as somebody who was so young and married at the age of 14, to really making sense of this world, and then children and the samsara, basically,
Yeah, yeah.
what will hold her. I think music did that to her. It was both the anchoring thing and the ticket to the outside world also in some way. And thanks to her, she always dreamt of this whole full ensemble of musicians with all her grandchildren. So that was her mega desire. That,
Okay.
oh, one should learn the mridangam, one should learn the violin, one should learn the flute, jaltarangam, singing, everything, so
Yeah.
that we have everything at home. Not that any of us fulfill her dream then. And then Amma is a beautiful singer, and she took music, and she was also taught music, and she's also a graded artist from AIR, and she came from a very, very beautiful, strong lineage of Guru Sishya Parampara. Her guru was really something for her. And so Amma was always also holding on to music as her center of sanity in the otherwise extremely demanding and chaotic world of hers. So so music was outside, spilling all over the place, and I think filling inside. So
Yeah. Yeah.
somehow intuitively, that's what I seem to be doing now, spilling it inside and kind of finding it as the way to kind of center myself, align. And it does do that, every minute, mm, every moment, every space can easily transform into something else when you end up breaking into a song or even just singing an alap or something. It immediately becomes timeless and it doesn't matter where you are, what it is. So it is like a nice, in a way, escape route also, quickly to say, okay, now I don't know what's happening around me.
So, when did this entire thing, now when you look back and you're connecting the dots, everything's making sense. So, it was very seamless, your entry into the world of art, into the world of music per se. The entire space was just something that you moved in very organically without realizing, or were there moments when you were wondering, how come, why, should I?
Should I? Why that happened? That's the other chapter of the growing person,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
trying to find your own identity and
yes.
why you're doing what you're doing, and are you doing it for the sake of it or because it's expected out of you. All that definitely was there, but the fact that the kind of choices I had around me was predominantly art based because of all my uncles and aunts engaging in some sort of music, and that the music was constantly happening inside the house. If they went to office, it was outside of what I knew. So this is what was happening. Even my chitti is dancing or practicing music classes. My sister was so deeply into books that I picked up books to read. So it was all about imbibing things and absorbing things and mimicking these adults in my life. My sister used to have a beautiful sketchbook and she started drawing. So somehow naturally, I always wanted to be a painter and an artist, and that seemed to be so fascinating for me. And of course, a dancer because my chittis were dancing, and I used to again be around in their class and pick up all the adavu and everything. And later, they in fact started choreographing things on me, teach me things more actively, take me for these little performances. Theater became a part of all this much later. When my sister had gone to audition somewhere, I went. But again, that was another thing. Like there was no theater person as such in my house, but it's a place where all these art forms meet in a very interesting way. And of course, Carnatic music, film music, all kinds of music through TV and radio going on. And my school was also heavily into culturals, all kinds of cultural activities. So sports, music. So it was a very well-rounded life that way,
Yeah.
where art never necessarily didn't find a backseat in any way. In
Mm.
fact, I think the fact that both the strong women or the important women in my family really felt that if not for art, life doesn't make any sense for them.
Uh-huh.
So I think it was encouraged, but is it possible to survive on that? It was something which was a question mark. So that was left open, saying, okay, if you have to make a living, we don't know. Although my party made her living, like she became an active earning member of the house through her concerts and Chalatarangam performances. Education, of course, was there was no way to not do that.
Yeah.
There were all these choices in front of me, all these choices. Plus, I think my own understanding, deepening of what life is and what do I want to do. My mother was so independent and so not just on her own, but she was there for everybody in the family. So sometimes it's great to say that, oh, you can completely take care of yourself, not be dependent. Yeah, life lessons, art lessons, everything going on parallelly.
Oh my God. Okay, there is such a beautiful blend, Bindu, in whatever you're saying, because you were introduced to every form of art, whether it's theater, music, dance, and everywhere it's an expression of emotions. What is it that drew you to which stream formally that you went into? And how did you see the influences of all the other streams you were part of? Just the way life drew your canvas. How would you describe that entire process for you?
Since music, singing came so easily to me, I never really thought much about it. What I was really drawn to was dance and painting. That is something that I went seeking out, saying, I want to learn dance from a good guru. I want to learn painting. In fact, I switched school in 11th and 12th from my Kendriya Vidyalaya to the Krishnamurti Foundation because at that time I got to know that you can take art as a subject. as one subject and actually give board exam. And I said, wow, I definitely want to be there. And I somehow thankfully got in. And yeah, you can paint and write an exam in painting. Wow, it's not one extracurricular activity or something. That's like, really, come on, it's unimaginably beautiful. And that you can choose art as something as important as your biology and math. For me, that is what I wanted to really be, a painter and a dancer and all that.
So, what were your other subjects, and which board was this which had art as a subject? CBS.
ISC. So interestingly, I chose a very, for me, I think it's a fantastic combination of subjects: math, biology, English was compulsory, art, and I was a part of the first batch of students to do environmental studies as their 11th and 12th board exam. I think everybody should do this. So I guess all this sort of somewhere laid the foundation of, this is the first time I think I was choosing. And I'm very glad I made these choices, because it really, I would just not say, I don't want to use the word alternate. To say it gives an alternate perspective, that already makes it look like it's not the center, it's something from the periphery.
Yeah.
Not really. It can actually show a way of being. Really question a lot of things that you take for granted.
True.
And what seems to be like the norm.
Yeah.
And how the norms can be so dangerous, and that it is important to not have a one point perspective on anything. It has to be all rounded, and that there is always other ways of being and looking at things and walking through your life.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then what happened after 12th? Where did you go? What did you do? And how did you move on?
So yeah, I did BFA in Stella for 3 years. Then I took the next year I was freelancing and doing BA music through correspondence, doing a lot of things at that time.
So you formalized even your music line, is it? What made you want to do a BA in music?
I don't believe in that actually.
Yeah.
Especially for music. Interestingly, that was the year that my then teacher was not in the country. She had gotten a fellowship and she had gone somewhere, a scholarship. I felt, okay, let me kind of fortify my practice with theory. So I just thought that the syllabus looked interesting, and there were certain things like requirements for that third year's thing, which will then give me a framework to practice when my teacher was not around. So it was these choices actually, than to proudly wear the badge of another degree. And then I went on to do masters in visual communication, and then I went on to NID to do a post graduation in graphic design. You see how I didn't give up on my idea to be a visual artist. Kept taking a very different turn from my original idea of wanting to be a painter. It kept going into commissioned work and digital space. So after a point, by the end of it, I was like, no, you're still engaged in visual arts, but probably not as an artist, not as somebody who's expressing their way of whatever they wanted to do. And definitely didn't want to sit in front of the computer throughout the day for that. And thankfully, by a great stroke of luck, I found my guru then in Hindustani music towards the end of my NID days. Yeah. I don't even know if I should call it homecoming then, because I found him in Calcutta, and it was another leap of faith and another.
Yeah, but NID, how did you go to Calcutta? It's in Ahmedabad, right?
That's what I found my guru through Spikmeke. Okay. Really, it was a very divine accident.
Wow.
It was just a lot of things which was unexpected, not what I thought I was doing or getting into. A lot of things that at that time didn't seem to go right. Finally, it helped me land up where I didn't know I had to land up, or this is where I wanted to land up, kind of a thing. And Hindustani music. Although Hindustani was my hunt till then, but after finding him, it became about him, my guru. Music became the vehicle for me to stay connected and absorb whatever he was exuding in his presence. So much happened even in silence in front of him, because he was very old and I could hardly speak in Hindi. If I spent 6 to 8 hours in his house, and out of which 5 hours I'll be sitting right next to him, at least 3.5, 4 hours will go in silence. Because this literally, and it didn't matter. It didn't make a difference.
What's his name?
Padma Bhushan Ustad Abdul Rashid Khan, and his pen name was Rasan Pia. That's how things unfolded.
Okay. And now, when you're looking at those days and those times, especially of silence, I'm sure a lot got created in you and was evolving in you. Is today's Bindhu Malini a lot from that space of silence where, as a child, there was so much activity, and suddenly, as a grown up, you're having silence? And that's such a world of contrast to be in, to bring the creator out. So, what evolved out of that silent world that Bindu had got into?
Yeah. So one was that NID is a place of, living 27 hours out of a 24-hour day. And I was that, I didn't want to miss out on all the fun and the work. And I was totally burnt out. Uh, and it was also about a lot of deadlines, self-created and created otherwise also. That's if you don't have that kind of a framework, and it's rapid, there's just lot of activity all the time, around me, inside me, I'm at it, I'm all that. And then suddenly I land up here and everything is like slow. If one thing happens in a day, it's good, and you have to wait. Nothing can be rushed. If you're going to rush anything, even by a little nudge, you're just not going to go anywhere. So I was so disoriented and fascinated. I am like, aha, the rules of the world doesn't apply here. I like it. And so does even my ego of anything doesn't work here, demands made out of oneself and things around you flop. So it was beautiful, just to stay waiting and see what happens. And I'm somebody who just hates waiting, imagine. So to really test me through that was something. And silence was, I guess, after so many years of grazing like one wild cow, I had to sit down at some point to ruminate over all that is going on. I didn't have a choice. It was pretty much like that. And for letting go of many things, many expectations, anticipations of how things have to be, this is how it will be, and it has to move this way, that way. And then you say, okay, actually, I have no control. And I was willing to do all this because all this felt okay in front of him. It was worth all this. It was worth to stand upside down, literally. So in a way, Kabir's words are trickling into my life, and my life is also unfolding in a way where if I don't look at the wisdom of his songs or his words, I'm really in for trouble in handling the life situations also. So it was lovely to completely immediately apply it and see and learn from that.
When did Kabir happen? In the silence? Who brought you to Kabir?
No, yes, my sister wrote a book called Kabir the Weaver Poet for young adults, published by Tulika. So that was my re-entry after school. The moralistic Kabir, the friendly, interesting, wise man, came through her book because it was also for young adults. So it was so accessible. And then we both, before it became a book, we both had done a small play out of it where we are the warp and weft of Kabir's loom. And we are constantly, so this warp and weft is constantly fighting, having differences of opinion and everything, and pakka gossip mongers. Like we had made a lovely play out of it. And from that, the book happened for her, and somehow life by itself happened to me over the years. So it didn't stop with just Kabir. Kabir became a new lease of life, just like my Baba became a new lease of life. It was a complete restart. Even I would say my marriage, my partner, my husband, even my musical partner, Vedant, everything was a beautiful way of remaking your life again in probably a different way with a different set of choices. Yeah, Kabir was like that for me. And then through Kabir, to even understand my relationship with the path of spirituality, the path of even God, if you say who is God, to kind of make that alignment or recalibration with that idea of God. It was a good entry point. Even then, if you go into form and formlessness, things that help kind of help you make your God in a way. So it's then mystic poets, other poets, what are they saying, but what is it that's actually unveiling behind that kind of a thing?
It's such a beautiful space life has taken you through. And it's amazing to see how everything was finite yet infinite in your childhood. And then you move into this adult space where such a beautiful blend of art, music comes in, and you understand the seamlessness of silence. And then you move into a new phase of life where a play that you and your sister comes back to be that influence, and then you move into Kabir and the Mystic Saints. Oh my God, Bindu, how would you describe Bindu?
That's the one thing I yesterday also I was talking to somebody, and I was just, this was the point of how sometimes you can call it fear, that if I describe or define, then it becomes very, very limiting. So I should just, even if there are things, I will just let it be in silence or not say it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's okay. We can constantly change and change and change. And Bindu, at the risk of sounding quite very narcissistic right now, I would, but because I should acknowledge a lot of hard work that has gone into this, I must say I really love the Bindu that I'm with right now. So it's taken a lot of hard work to get there.
Okay. And playing with that word, the Kendra Bindu of who you are now is a blend
Yeah,
of all the things that you have done, right?
yeah, yeah. So I'm annoyingly serious at all times, and extremely irreverent and quite idiotic also parallelly. So that's pretty much Bindu, and that reflects in action, thought, being, my music, everything. So I've cracked the balance as of now, as of today, for myself, with a blend of, yeah, the singing and silence is a way to look at it, saying of action and passivity, being proactive and then suddenly withdrawing. So it's a lot of all this all the time. It's not quite constant, but at the same time, I'm not saying therefore I have my extremes.
Uh-huh.
So I try and moderate it. Yeah, moderation, balance, all these are also that it's a spiritual practice, in fact,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to really balance the inside and the outside and let go of the extremes and find the golden mean.
And in this entire Kendra Bindu of all the influences that came in today, what does spirituality mean to you? Where does mysticism play a role? And how does it come out in the different art forms that you have been part of? Where does it all find an exit?
I think spirituality is part of every breath, whether we realize it or not, or acknowledge it or not. That's how it is actually. It's just that sometimes you want to actively work with it, work on it, build on it, or sometimes it's okay. But I think there's enough around that will still take care of you, even if you don't realize it. So that's spirituality for me, of constantly engaging in a little more heightened way with every moment, not necessarily about yourself. It's about things that are happening around you, both visible and invisible, and to be so mindful of every action and its ripple effect. And I think it's not just to do with spirituality here. It's to, like, for example, the environmental studies course I took definitely unfolded and showed a lot of the result and impact of our actions of today that could, after 20 years, be not what we thought it is. You could do something with all your good intention now, and that will be the thing that will backfire the most. So this whole idea of this good, bad, everything, needs to be really looked at a very different level. Especially, I think ecologically, it's a very important thing to really look at this. What does it take for us to live, and to be really mindful of that. Hopefully, eventually shed the unnecessary and make a few sustainable choices. Means to really understand what's their source from. Where is it coming from? How are we interconnected? And there's one, it's called NIMBY, not in my backyard. That's a phrase they use in one of the classes when we were talking about, I think, global economy, local economy, everything to do and how it impacts environment. So the whole idea of, no, my backyard is clean. It's not in my backyard. That's it. I think it was even to do with waste management or resource management. So if you just throw your waste outside of your compound wall, is it really solved? So that's the thing. My backyard is clean. I don't care about anything outside. Is where everything, it happens at a global level where your toxic waste can be dumped in an ocean bed and say, no, my place is clean. And if you look at the same thing to you as a person, how are your actions and where are you drawing your territories? All this is very interconnected. Then music also operates that way. Where does music start and end? And if you say, this is music, this is how music should be, and this is what it is, and that is not music. So all these boundaries and territories need to be carefully looked at, and who is drawing it and why do we do that. So for me, mysticism is this, spirituality is this, environmentalism is this.
And is there any Kabir ka doha which sums this up? And can you sing that?
Oh, so many like that. He loves laughing at the stupidity of mankind, and I think he's also deeply pained by it. So many sadho 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 dekho jag borana, sadho dekho jag borana, साची कहे तो मारन धावे, साच कहे तो मारन धावे, झूठे जग पतियाना, झूठे जग पतियाना, साधो देखो बोराना, माला पहिरे टोपी पहिरे, माला पहिरे टोपी पहिरे, छाप तिलक हनुमाना, छाप तिलक हनुमाना, साखी सबद गावत भूल, साखी सबद गावत भूल, आत्म खबर न जाना, आत्म खबर न जाना, साधो देखो जग बोरानो, साच कहे तो मारन धावे, झूठे जग पतियाना.
Wow. And what does it mean?
This world is so funny. If you speak the truth, they come to kill you. And if you speak lies, you are praised, and it runs in that. And that you can roll your beads all the time. You can wear your topi, you can put your tilak, everything. You can even sing all your sakis and sabad and everything. But Atma Khabar na jana. You still have no idea about the one that's inside. Do all this. You can read as many books as you want. You can do all that. But have you read? Do you know anything about this? Is what he says. That everybody is blind and everybody is in this illusion in a way.
Bindhu, I'm just so curious. How do you look at life, Bindu? Because you've had such amazing experiences, and like how beautifully life planned it out for you, in spite of you growing up in Madras and then moving all over. And when you entered
Mm.
into a life with a partner, how did things change? Did anything change, or Bindu continued to be the same?
Everything changed. Not one thing stayed constant at all. Everything changed, and it's ever changing. And every day is a homework. Every day is a practice. Every day is an attempt to walk the path or see what am I up to and what am I doing, why am I doing this kind of a thing. It has been extremely challenging and difficult, and I'm somebody who is unable to also turn my back to things like this. As much as I have a lot of my own fears, I don't have a choice but to face it head on also. But I can see that it's been worth all this hard work in life for really being happy today to know where I am, to be where I am or who I am. So one thing that you had asked was, I think I too didn't stop. I kept saying there's something more, there's something more. I'm not able to understand this puzzle. I'm not happy how things are going, where this is happening. No, 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 kind of a thing. So from my side, I think I kept looking at least. And from the other side, I think things also started flowing my way. And I loved life to take over and show me possibilities, because many a times I was hitting roadblocks, or I was probably landing up in the wrong place at the wrong time, or things were just really not happening. But much later, I realized there's a flow, and it's good to kind of flow with life and then see what can happen. I'm very, very fortunate to have this life this way. Look at life where every moment or life, I'm at least now open to the beauty of life is, to how magical it is, how extremely exciting it is. That does not mean I'm not extreme sorrow, and the difficulty and the grief of life also. But the thing is, that is how it is, and both exist, both and everything between exists, and that's what is beautiful.
I'm somebody who personally believes a lot in the power of flow, okay, to just allow things to happen and move. And there are critics to this attitude to life saying that dead fish go with the flow. And so, what would you like to
You
tell?
can ride the wave if you go with the flow, that's what you have to hardly do any work. There's a whole entire wave that you can surf on. And
Yeah,
seriously, and I'm not saying it just like that. I'm not going to try and sound pompous, but a lot of things that I never thought will be part of my life have happened because of this. That after a point, it's an entire force that's also kind of taking you forward. I won the national award, I won the Filmfare. All this happened, and that doesn't mean, not that I didn't put my effort or things like that, but
yeah.
a lot of other things that were not in my control or in my purview of things still happened. And if I don't call it riding the wave, I don't know what would be. So it's not just flow, it's these are also metaphors that we want
Yeah,
to place to make meaning of life,
yeah.
to to so
Okay. So now tell us a little about those awards.
okay, coming back to idea of flow, is that from singing Kabir to making this album with Vedant Bharadwaj to then um, being called to make music for films. Then both of us did. Then I said, okay, I'm in Bangalore. Then another project came, and I said, I think I'll do this on my own here. And entry into movies as a music director. Not that I didn't want to do all this, but they were not my life goals as such. They were just my wishes and dreams. And thankfully, um, my work started attracting all this. Um, so yeah, this whole idea of being a composer, being a music director, along with being a singer, everything started adding up. And one small thing just is constantly building and expanding on its own self in a nice way. And by and by, I made music for Nati Charami, and I also sang the songs in it. But then both 2 songs out of it won this one national award and Filmfare the same year as best female playback singer. In not even my wildest dream, I would have thought I'll be winning something like this. That too, as a music director for songs that I have composed, and I get to sing those same songs and they get recognized, and in Kannada. Not even like Tamil or like, how do I even want to nice explain these things then? But I'm happy that these have happened. You can watch the film on Netflix, and Aruvi is there in Prime Video, and
Okay.
there are other documentary films, Coral Woman. These are available that you can watch.
Okay. All of us went into a reflective mode because you are in a very philosophical state of mind. And that happens when you go on a reflective journey. And when you look back to see at all that life has given you and how things have moved in life, where you started, where you set out, and how life just had a different plan altogether. Like they say, life is what keeps happening while you're busy planning. So
Absolutely. So I just stopped planning.
and you don't need to, because it seems like life has a lot of surprises up its sleeve for you.
All you can do is, I think, prepare yourself,
Yeah.
like be in practice.
Yeah, exactly. So there's my question. What do you prepare yourself for? What do you need to prepare? And what are you preparing all the time?
I'm just preparing myself all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you working on?
I'm working on my emotions, my way of looking at things, my reactions, my trigger points. How am I responding to things? What's not going okay? Then, if it's not going okay, why? Definitely working on my ability to be a little more forgiving towards myself first. Or not first, that's the most difficult thing. I easily forgive others.
Yeah.
But now it's slowly coming to being less demanding of myself also. So uh, it's definitely helped. I've in fact improved a lot in terms of even my music and everything after I stopped demanding so much. See, the flow is not that flow will happen automatically. There are things within us which resist it all the time.
Yeah.
So to understand where does that come from, how to then do it in a way which is not affecting you or others. Again, my environmental studies thing of the ripple effect, or every action can have its cause and effect. So to try and lighten that, to see if there's a way to understand how to walk lightly as you keep going,
Yeah.
in all aspects, in
Yeah.
thought, action, hopefully even the material belonging,
Yes.
everything. I think to make oneself lighter that way. And for a long time, I think I was overthinking. Even now, I do. Taking life too seriously, or taking myself too seriously, and all that. So, yeah, and this self reflective thing helps me a lot. So, I now and then, when I really don't know what's happening or where it's going, or it's going way ahead of my understanding, sometimes I just say, wait, let me recalibrate. Just because everything is going good, should I just keep going with that flow? Is something I kind of rethink, saying, okay, kind of thing. Last year, anyway, that was supposed to be my plan, and I did take a sabbatical, and then lockdown and everything happened. So
Yeah.
I was, it was supposed to be my resting year, rechecking, kind of taking stock of health also, of life choices and whatnot. The first lockdown was very, very weird, but interesting that way, that I was anyway slowing down. And suddenly the wisdom of slowing down was what was shouted out in all the speakers. So I was like, okay, like that. As much as I expand outside in my outward journey, I try to do the same inside. So I try and do whatever it takes for that. Otherwise, it gets very lopsided for me. And this year, the second wave was very telling. And I did go into a practice of 15 minutes of life affirming something every day, which I offered for myself and others. Something to center and hold on. A space where people can moan, grieve, or just give themselves 15 minutes from everything, especially doctors and frontline workers. So I used to do something called Here For You, just like you and I. I called it Here For You. And that was a space of 15 minutes of music and silence. I used to sing. People used to log in mute, listen, and leave. So this went on for about 92 days. And then it could have gone on forever. I just said, okay, I'll also bring it to a close and it'll revive itself whenever it has to. That 15 minutes was a practice in many ways for me. It was not just about practicing music, it was a practice of trying to do something that day, than making a promise of I'll do it for 300 days, I'll do it forever, and all that. Today I'll do it. And every day I'll say, okay, today I'll try and do it. Then something else, because that was a very difficult thing for me to do, to be consistent and committed. So it was practicing that. I was practicing, if you show up for those 15 minutes, then to see what unfolds. I was practicing being okay to make mistake in front of people, to use it as a space where I'm not completely practicing in a self-indulgent way, nor am I performing for anybody. It's a collective space of silence and music, and I happen to be the facilitator of that. And to make sure, life, like I said, there was 80% of the time there was only talk about loss and fear of loss and grief of that. So, okay, 20% of the time, let there be something about life too, to balance a really big battle between life and death. So without taking sides, I was just trying to balance it for my own self here, saying, okay, I'll feed into this for some time, I'll feed into that for some time. And the other one, I didn't need feeding. It was coming all from all directions anyway. Nowadays, I now practice trying to bring in a daily rhythm. It means even food, eating, sleeping, music, anything that can be brought in a very doable way. And practicing excitement of creating, opening up to new things and saying, oh, let's see what this has in store.
And anything exciting coming up now for us from you?
Many things are going on. One thing I'm looking forward to, or working on that right now, is making music for Bijayani Satpathy, an Odissi dancer, for her next work. And that's very exciting to be collaborating with her like this. I'm also collaborating with MD Pallavi, with whom I have already done this very exciting work called Threshold. I can share the link with you. I think you will like it. And then we both have been doing this play called Desdemona Rupakam, directed by Abhishek Majumdar. And now we both are putting together music for the Artakalari Biennale that's going to happen in Jan. And then there are some other documentary films that I'm working on right now. Yeah.
Wow, your
So I
plate
think
is
my
full
plate
this
is
side.
full.
Yeah, good.
It is.
And
And we recently released an album called Resemblance, which is part
Pallavi
of,
and you?
no, this is part of a project called Sat Sat, curated by Tejaswini Niranjana. And it's the outcome of a 3-year-long conversation between musicians from China, Hong Kong, and musicians from India. And that has come in the form of an album, a 2-piece album, Hong Kong chapter, called Resemblance. So it's available on Spotify, all these platforms.
It's a musical blend. It is a conversation. What is it? Like, what
This
have
is
you?
just this is an album of songs or music. This is
Oh,
music.
okay.
But since you said conversation, Threshold is called a musical conversation between me and Pallavi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Mm.
Oh, this is
Mm.
amazing. And where is that available? Like on YouTube, Spotify, that way? Or?
Right now, we have put it out on one of our shows. We have put it out on YouTube, the one we did in Kochi, Biennale.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's something which is a live act. Like you're supposed to sit
Oh,
and watch
okay.
it live, and then you engage in conversation after that. And
Okay, okay. Interesting. Interesting. See, like everything else came in a flow. The reflections of the pandemic also you already given, and you gave it so beautifully on how you're reflecting on life itself. So the most important element of you and I is also the life lessons. Bindhu, you
mm,
had a fascinating life, where life planned a lot for you and took you to all these beautiful people that you met and the experiences that you've been through. So, 3 life lessons from the amazing life you've led so far.
definitely, gratitude, grace, and compassion. These sound like words, but it takes an entire life to really understand and keep understanding them, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. For me, this conversation has been extremely special because not only are you a great person weaving the different art forms, but weaving them and blending them so beautifully with words is something that makes you an amazing speaker as well. So, Bindhu Malini, completely honored to have you on You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Your journey has been fantastic. Hoping, praying, and I'm sure the universe is listening when I say, stay blessed, continue to inspire, and find and be in touch with that Kendra Bindu that's like now for me, shining bright and giving out its rays in every possible direction for the beautiful human being you are. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. Thank you.
With that, we come to the end of this weekly quest of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know people who make the world beautiful. Write in to rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com. Come, let's explore this amazing world together, both you and I.